What's good? It's Ryan here with Guitar Prod, also known as Ryany Beats. And in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how to create an emo rap or Lil Peep type beat that is worth at least $20,000. I'm going to show you how to make beats like this, beats that sell. So if you look at my screen right here, top selling beat, Last Breath, is an emo rap Lil Peep type beat that has sold net profit over $21,000 in the last couple years. So it makes about $1,000 a month. And it's all organic growth, blowing up on YouTube, then it eventually blows up on the beat selling platforms, and then boom, you're cashing out. So the real secret to blowing up online is making amazing beats. So today you got the first look in how I put together these beats, some of the different structuring tools, because that's one of the biggest parts about audience retention in terms of blowing up organically, is we need to keep people through the whole entire beat. So how do we get people sucked in? And how do we structure the beat in a way that allows them to stay locked in and inspires them to actually want to record a song on it? So a couple of the different things that I did with this beat that most people don't do is most people, their beats are structured in a way, usually it's pretty flat. Or maybe if they're a little bit better, they might have an introduction that's a little bit less intense, and then it goes up to the verse, and then there might be like a little build up to the chorus, and then it kind of just stays in this range. But what I'm talking about is we're gonna start off way down here, and what's gonna happen is we're gonna build up. So our intro isn't flat. It's gonna build up through the intro, then we're gonna have a switch up, it's gonna go down a little bit, and it's gonna start building up again. So it always feels like it's going up and up and up and up until we really hit the chorus and we really hit the power within. So I am going to record every instrument from scratch. Any instruments or any samples that I record are going to be available below this video. So check the link in the description. I'm gonna have all the loops that you can use completely free. I'm also gonna have a link to some other loop kits that you can use, as I believe that these are some of the best guitar loops in the game right now, just because nobody really has access to them. And I also have a way to structure the loops, and I've proven over 100 million views. So there's a lot of reasons. But if you want to get some unique loops, then I highly recommend that you pick those up. So today in this project, as you see, we are beginning completely from the beginning. I know the energy is high, but we are about to cool it down because it's going to be a long process. But I want to take you through every single step so you can really get a sense of what it takes to create something from scratch. And maybe you'll have the loop, so you don't have to start completely from scratch. However, I want you to really see the whole process, and all of the elements that I've used, I'm going to somewhat recreate. It's not going to be exactly the same as the previous beat, but I'm going to follow that style and hopefully reveal some things that, that you don't expect. So the intention for this beat is that I'm going to start it off a little bit faster than I have in mind. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow it down later. So one of the things that I did in the Lil Peep type beat that blew up is I used an effect in Logic Pro X called Varispeed, which essentially is like taking a CD player, or no, a record player, and then slowing it down. So everything still sounds the same, except now it's slower and it's lower. And I did that not only with the samples, but I did that with the whole entire beat. So that might be something that we replicate in today's video. But to begin, I'm going to pick up this guitar. I had a couple basic ideas of, what I had in mind. And one thing that I did do is typically I would use a plugin like this, which has a couple different amps and stuff. But one thing that I was noticing when going through this is that it doesn't give me the ability to increase intensity. So what I'm doing is I'm going through an actual amplifier, which is going to allow me to, when I'm playing the note softly, so like to have that note fade out, so if I do want to come back and use that ending or to extend a verse into a hook or to do something creative, I have that option. So you'll notice visually we can really see what was heard in terms of the ability to start off small and then it really built up over time. So let's go through this riff really quick. And I kind of like that riff, so starts off right here really soft. Okay, so this is the start of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this over to the bar, and then we're gonna find out where it ends. Dun, 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 boom. So we have a loop. Okay, this loop is going to be available below if you want to create something with this. Now keep in mind, this is just the start. Now, there are a couple different options. I could just loop this and then make a melody on this. That's one way. But then another thing that I like to do is give myself different options. So we don't want to just have a beat that has that loop. It's an amazing loop because we also got to keep in mind, how long is it? It's longer than most loops. So we have a 203, it's basically a 30-second loop. So, and it builds up the whole time. So if you can get somebody to go through that loop like a few times, you're already gonna blow up online. And that's the cool thing, is a lot of people, they'll use these loops that are like 3 or 4 seconds and they're flat. There's nothing building up, there's no intensity, so it really doesn't have the human emotion feel like something like that would have. Hence why you need to download some of my guitar loops. Producers these days be crazy. Y'all be crazy. You don't want to use my loops. Y'all be crazy. All right, so let's move on. Let's record another riff that I think would work with that. So we went from here to here to here to here. So we're kind of building up. We can go hard. Yeah, we can do something like that. So we can be like, cannot even hear that metronome, bro. Yo, where my metronome at, man? I'm about to freak out over here. All right, let's do this. So we're gonna be. That note is weird, but I like it. If I want to be able to use that well in the chorus, for it to actually sound really full and really good, I'm gonna have to record the same thing twice and they have to line up. So I have to kind of remember what I just played. All right. Let's see if I got that right. So we're gonna line them up, we're gonna spread them out wide, and then we're gonna see if they sound properly on top of one another. So what we can do is we'll pull this up right over here, we'll pull this track to the left, and what we'll do is we'll pull this one on top, and we're gonna pull this one to the right, and we're gonna hope that they sound good. Woo! About to blow in my ears. I'm glad you ain't here with me, you're about to hate me. All right, let's see this. Bum, 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 bum. All right, I like that. So the cool thing is now that as the listener is listening, when the chorus hits, it's building up, and then boom, it separates and we have a guitar on each ear hitting in. That's going to allow your bass, your drums to really come up the middle and to really have the impact that they should. So we have one guitar loop that somewhat builds up, and then we have a heavier guitar loop, which could be used as the chorus. So now we have a couple different options. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start looping them. And now I'm thinking I usually like to have a bridge of some sort. So let's see, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull this one over to the left. And that way I'm just gonna have myself some ability to record. I like to crop it to notice how it had like some glitch or whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make sure that it's perfectly lined up, and then I'm gonna do that again. Yeah, I don't know why Logic does that. It's just like this. I honestly don't think it makes any difference, but I just like to make sure that my bars and my loops aren't going over. So let's see. All right. Now, a third riff, what can we do? So we build up, then the chorus starts up here. So notice I didn't use the same chord progression in the chorus. We could have just done the chord progression in the chorus like here. So let's actually make sure that, and I'm very confident because, you know, I've made beats for a while, but I want to make sure that these loops actually work well together. So let's just give it a second listen back. So it's building up. Pretend this is going into the chorus. So we're building up. Now we're gonna hit the chorus. Honestly, the chorus could start on a lower note like that, so I'm just curious to hear how this sounds. So I could loop it that way, but you know what? I'm just gonna leave it. But that actually did work as well, so that's just another option in case maybe you're working with somebody that doesn't like a different chord progression in the chorus. Some people just like to keep the chords the same throughout, but that's something that I like to do, is to not always start the same chord progression at the same spot with the same notes. Like, mix it up a little bit, give your listener something different. So regardless, I want to see if we can create another kind of option that we can have to play around with. And then from here, we'll go into the melodies, we'll add some piano, we'll add some drums, we'll go from there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I can edit that together. So you'll see that's kind of how I record a lot of these loops. Is I don't always get it perfect the first time, but I'm gonna have to come back and edit this just a little bit to make it sound perfect. So now we have 3 different options to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pull this one up and we're gonna loop it. All right. So without wasting too much time, I'm gonna go back to the first one and I'm gonna see what we can do to add some melodies on top of it. You know, give us some flavor, give us something unique. I might actually come up to the different pickup. Keep it simple, yeah. I like that. So it's So I know that would be convoluted for many people, but there were 2 different parts I really liked in that. So that's good. I like it a lot. So it's a good starting point, but we don't want to just assume that's the best thing I'm gonna make. That was the first thing I made. The first thing is often the catchiest, but let's see what else we can do here. All right. Look, and another thing to think about, I haven't even thought about what key I'm in. I'm just literally finding the notes and just trying to keep it real simple. Because once you overthink, you're like, okay, well, I'm in this key, and then you just start you start overthinking the key. You start getting into these habits, and then you start creating things that sound the same as everything else. So let's see what we can do. Maybe this time I'll actually be conscious of the keys. So I think we're in D, right? D minor. that's another option. So maybe I'll just throw that below so you guys will have a couple of different options to work with as well. One of us better create a freaking, if I don't create a beat that blows up, y'all better freaking do something with it. But I think I'm gonna be able to do something dope with this, but let's see what y'all can do. So the thing I didn't like about that is that final riff. Why couldn't I have played that better? Oh man, so look, this is the last part. I really don't like that. That's the note I was trying to hit. That's something. See, the second one is a little bit different, so it's just like. See, nope, that is not gonna work. That was the note I was looking for. Oh! So let's see. Let's go new track. So whenever you add piano and whenever you add background instruments, it's hugely important that you are able to get the velocity properly. A lot of people get the velocity too high in terms of their piano, especially when I'm trying to match it up with that guitar that I was literally barely tapping the pick against the string at first. And then I'm starting to hit that harder. We want to kind of replicate that same thing with the keys of the piano. So what we're going to do is open a piano, and I'm going to show you the way I like to set it up. There's this weird glitch in Logic, so track new software instruments, and watch, now it'll pop up Steinway. And then now that I'll go back to the same track and it will actually pop up this time. See? I like to use the Steinway grand piano, and the setting I like to use, I really like to turn that reverb really high. You could play around with the ambiance, but the compression, I like to have that also really high. Turn up the tone just a little bit, because it's going to, when you hit it so soft, the low part of the EQ is likely going to cause some distortion or gain or some issue with the mixing. So that's one reason I like to keep the low a little bit lower. The compression, having that compression up is just going to allow the note to be perceived as longer. So in situations like this where I'm trying to create a really quiet, beautiful piano part, I like it to be soft and I like the notes to last long, right? The worst thing about the piano, you hit a note, it's bing, and it fades away. No, you want it to be bing. You want it to hold that out a little bit. So as a piano player, this is cool because then you guys get to really see the struggles, because I have not been trained in piano one bit whatsoever. So what I like to do is I like to just find the root notes and then see if I can build some chords off that. Based on the way I did the guitar, I can think about it. Okay, well the first note was D, and then I went up 3 half steps. So then we're gonna go from a D to a F, right? So I can think about that, and then I'm like, okay, well where is the D note? But let's see what we got. So that's the first note. That's the second note. It's the third note. All right. So we basically have the velocity I like to go for specifically. I like to have it in the 30s. unless, I usually don't use the piano unless I have it around the 30s, but sometimes I'll use it at higher intensity. But the best results that I've found is to have it around 30. If it gets a little bit more intense, we might be able to get into the 40s or 50s, but to really have it hitting properly, I like to have it around 30, in the 30s. And then we can think about the key from there. So now that we have the root notes, what I like to do is we will paste the root notes again. And so that's good. That is not good, so we'll pull that up a half step. Good. So now we'll paste it one more time, and now we're gonna get to the top note of this triad. And that will be already proper. It's the middle note you have to adjust. Good. Now the notes are all hitting at once, so it's gonna cause a little bit more of an impact in a negative way. So one thing, and I also do notice the velocities are a little bit higher for these notes than I would hope for. So let them build up. This one could be high 30s, so we'll go up there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the second note for each chord, and we're gonna stretch that out just a little bit late, and then we'll take that third note, or the top note on each chord, and what we'll do is we'll do the same thing. We'll pull these out. So now all the chords, I mean, we can humanize it, but I find great results with this as well. So now it's hitting smooth, 1, 2, 3. And there's still stuff we could do with this. Like, for example, we still find that the EQ is a little bit much. We can play with the EQ up top as well. So to even further dramatize the effect, we can ultimately come in here, high cut frequency, and we can see what this would do if we drop the beginning. So we're really just further emphasizing what we're already naturally doing with the way we played the guitar. I like that. I like that because the piano goes, you know, whatever, and then the guitar kind of does it, so it's kind of cool. So let's see. Now again, we gotta adjust the velocity. We're gonna adjust the velocity. All right, let's see. So what we can do, let's just do this. Let's do function. Let's go fixed velocity of 30. And then let's get the notes on perfect timing. And then what we can do from here, we can humanize it a little bit further. So let's go humanize. Select and operate, plus or minus 10. So now we'll have, wait, I thought we had the fixed note length, or the fixed, what the heck happened? Functions. Oh, did I hit fixed note length? Let's go to fixed random pitch velocity limiter. There we go. So let's limit the velocity. I thought I did this at 30, select and operate. And then we humanize from that foundation. Boom. Okay, that is my intention. So now we're gonna have to turn this up a little bit. And you know what? This note might actually have to be a little bit louder because they're not popping through as much as I would like. So dun 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 dun. This note's too loud. All right. So there were some notes that could be optimized in that. So this could be the same the third time. I don't know why I'm feeling that note. See, sometimes I just have a hint for a note. Yeah, that was weird, but it sounded good. This note I don't like. We can actually get rid of it. I like that. Now what we can do, dun, dun, dun. Oh, it's a little bit before. So what we'll do is on the second one, here, look, I'm just gonna copy this right on top of it. Yeah, there we go. Now, as the guitar is getting a little bit more intense, it's appropriate to start to bring up that piano intensity a little bit. So we can get into the 40s, we can start to get up into the 50s by the end, depending on how it sounds. So obviously we want to make sure that it sounds good. And there seems like there could be another note in there. What note? Da, 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 da. No, probably one note higher than that. Yeah, we can boost these up just a little bit further as we get to the end as well. Boom. All right. Now what happens if we add the piano? I'm wondering if we can just replicate that effect all the way through. So look, we can do that to really emphasize the EQ even further. So we already really emphasized the EQ in terms of the actual playing in and of itself. But when we go into emphasizing it further, we can actually have a greater effect and really allow the pianos to cut through a little bit more. So let's see what happens if we can lower this a bit. Again, it has to be done properly though. Yeah, we might want to lower it so we can actually... Again, it's going to be a little bit slower though, so I kind of like how this is. It just feels a little fast almost. It seems like there could be another note potentially in there too. Let's see what we can do to extend that just a little bit. Yeah, let that note fit in. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now we have the piano. We got some ammo up in the ammunition. All right. And this will probably be where so if the drums will probably come in a minute in. So this is where the beat will actually drop. I know, crazy, right? But if you structure the beat like that, that's exactly the way Last Breath was structured too. And it's crazy because we're about to slow it down. So actually it's gonna be more than a minute in before the beat even drops. So really we're giving people really good music and inspiration. It's starting off really quiet. We'll probably start off with that without the piano, just the guitar. And then maybe like at the midway point, we'll have the piano come in, right? Right about here. And then let's start to look at some of the effects that we can implement. The guitar is a little bit loud too, so just lowering that a bit is gonna allow the piano to cut through. There we go. Okay, so one of the effects that I like to use, I highly recommend it for Lil Peep type beats. It just has a huge impact. The one instrument there's two in all of Serum of, especially regarding what it comes with stock. I only use the 8-bar riser, and then I also use this. There's a couple other ones that are pretty good, but the Theramax ASL, boom. So this one has a lot of potential to really allow you to feel the beat. So if we use this either right about here or right about here in terms of the beat, we're gonna have a great impact. Okay, so this is still going, freaking me out. I see this time at 100, I was like, oh shit, I reached another limit. Okay. It's always the same note I like to use in this. So it's the, and it's gonna be that. But then we're gonna EQ it, so. Okay, so that's what we want. And then what we're gonna do with that is we're going to EQ. We are going to drop it. So what I want to do is I ultimately want people to feel this. I don't want them to hear it as much as I want them to feel it. And we're gonna accomplish that by really exaggerating the depth of the EQ. I almost don't want that first note to be heard. It's very subtle. It's like a wah, but that first note shouldn't really be heard that much. There we go. Turn that up a little bit so we hear it. Wah. There we go. I like that. And then we can do it again right before this one, but the only difference before this one is we might actually lower it to make it even more subtle. We can lower this an octave. You can also try to raise it up an octave, but wanna. Yeah, that one you could hardly even feel that one. And then maybe right here we could have some other effect. So look, there are some effects that I like to use. I usually get my effects from Splice, but there are a few that I have. I have some of them in my sampler, but I also like to have some of them over here as well. They're just, I don't know, I find it quicker to access sometimes. But let's pull. This one has potential. Oh, let me pull it down further. This one has some potential. This is a custom one that I edited, has potential. I usually like to use this one early, so probably if I don't use it right there, I'll probably use it like around here somewhere. So let's try that. The Cara build, she did a good one, so I like to throw that in there somewhere. Cymbal roll, I usually like to use that after the chorus. Unreal clap, yeah, that's the old school clap. We can do the feedback might be good. Feedback might be dope. So it's essentially like having the amplifier. It's like, it feels like a live show. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play around with some of these effects real quick. And again, you could probably find something similar to these if you look through the transitions on Splice. So what I'm gonna do is lower the volume so I don't break everybody's ear. So this one, I like that. So what I like to do usually with these is I like to put them in the space as well. So I'll put some space designer on them, give them a little bit of reverb, right? Just make it big though. Bigger and longer. Let's do this. I like those effects. Like you hear that, that Theramax is still going. You can still hear it. Now right here, I'll probably throw in a, we'll start building up the energy. So what we can do is throw in a Moog style bass. So what we'll do, come over to Alchemy, and ultimately we can, so these are the settings. We're gonna bring the glide up to about 30. And we can boost this up just a little bit. But the glide, it's heavily customized, so we'll hear how it sounds and we'll make the adjustment from there. So regarding the Moog bass, I like to go from the piano. If I did the piano already, it's gonna be the same notes as the lower note of the piano. So what we can do is ultimately just delete some of these notes, and this should be the same as the first. So we'll just copy this over, and then what we can do is pull this down an octave. And then we will throw on the EQ. So we're building this up in the same way we built up a lot of the other instruments as well. So we're having that effect kind of going throughout the beat. We're starting to get to the point where we're gonna, ooh, there we go. It's too loud, but. Now we'll have another builder coming up right there. So this is where we'll start the 8-bar riser right about there. Boom. Oh, that's, yeah, we'll have that build up too. That's a good idea. So we'll go into the, I heard a pop. I heard a pop. Who's guilty? Who did it? All right, let's go into 8-bar riser. So we got all types of sounds going through this. I love this. All right, so we have this. And then let's say a minute 30, we can probably have the chorus drop around a minute 30. So that's when we'll hit this. We'll have all this stuff coming in. So again, we're able to really, ooh, this is gonna be dope. I already see this beat coming together really, really well. So for the second part of this build up, we're gonna, honestly, we can just use the same note as the piano. It's gonna be the same root note as the first note. Or at least in this phrase it will be. So we'll pull this through. Oh no, so this is only 4 bars. Oh no, what are we gonna do? So what we'll have to do is we'll have to build it up throughout the whole 8. So let's do this. It'll be similar to what we're doing with the Moog bass. I'll just put it in myself. So let's do this. Cha cha cha. Boom boom boom. And we'll start this all the way at the bottom. So look, one way to edit this, the risers, I know a lot of people, it's hard to edit the risers because you have to wait the whole time for it to really hear it. So it's building up already. All right, we hear it building up. It's this thing. Why did that seem to build up in 4 bars if it's an 8-bar riser? This is so weird. All right, let's see. Is it the fact that it's just a low note? So look, one thing we could do instead of having to edit this like this, it does seem to build up. I don't know why it's building up so quick. So what we'll do is we'll cut it in half. It's supposed to be an 8-bar riser, but apparently 4 bars, it's I don't know. I've actually never seen that before, but hey, that's what I was intending anyway. So thank you. Now to actually, why don't we do this? Let's just bounce this, and notice how I had this extra empty space at the end. I did that intentionally. So we will bounce this in place, so that way we have the potential to actually edit it in time without having to actually go back and start it from the beginning over and over again. So what we'll do is we'll essentially do a similar EQ, and we will build this up. So this one is supposed to end at the same time, so if it ends right there, boom, cha, 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 cha. So this will end right at the moment. Let's zoom in a little bit further to make sure we get that accurately. Boom. All right, so let's see what we have so far. So that is a little bit too excessive. Let's mute this. This might actually be distracting the build up a little bit. Like that. Okay. So we had that little clip right here. So this is something that I do on my guitar loops, is we find a way to make sure that these lines line up, because when they line up, we have no pops. So we got to figure out where the beginning of the note is. We can zoom out just a little bit to find out what is actually going on with this note. So did the note begin already? Did it not? So it seems like the note probably begins somewhere around that big peak right here. So we'll try to connect it right around there. Right about here if possible. Not good enough. Boom, good enough. I mean, we'll know it's good enough because we won't hear a pop. There we go, good enough. So I kind of have most of the instrumentation that I want to use. So now we're gonna drop this. So I'm assuming that we're gonna drop this about 1/2 of a step. So let's go into the pitch shifter, and we're gonna drop this down because it says E flat minor. So if it's E flat minor, we're gonna drop it down to D. So that can be part of our transition into the chorus. So right about here, let's see what we got. So we can pull, we're gonna remove this. So now we are essentially structuring out what we have in mind. So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll take these, and again, for the chorus, we might end up getting rid of that melody for maybe the first chorus and maybe just have that melody for the second chorus. Otherwise, if it's really good, we can keep it. So we're gonna go from there, we build up, so this loop repeats only 3 times and then we're 1.5 minutes in. We're gonna be over 1.5 minutes in because we're gonna slow it down a little bit. So a lot of people are gonna make it at least to the chorus, and then what we'll do is we'll go back and we'll essentially repeat this part 2 more times. All right, let's see if we could finish this up, hopefully, because I only have like, another 30 minutes of the battery, so we gotta make this beat quick. We already have like freaking 15 stems in place. We're not doing too bad. So we have it structured out, then we're gonna go back to the second chorus. or back to the chorus, which will now be the second chorus. And if we want to okay, so we're gonna come back to the chorus, then we're gonna go to the bridge. So we're gonna take this bridge right here that we had recorded, and we will pull this in. I like to take people on a journey with the loops themselves, but also when I'm making the beat. The beat is very important. All right, let's see. And then from here, we can do a final chorus. And again, we'll want to use something to make that final chorus a little bit more unique than the others. So for example, we could remove the melody, possibly for like the first half of one. So then it starts off here, then it goes to that. Or we could potentially just remove it completely, and then the second one will have the melody, and the third one will have either a different melody or an additional sound or something a little bit. I like to use that same Theramax going right into the chorus, so let's see how that sounds. So we might have to lower the volume. Yeah, right, you can hear that coming through, right? The wah, wah. We'll do it again right here. Wah, wah. And then what we can do is repeat this for the second verse as well. So let's see. I can do that. Actually, I'm going to do it like this because I want the chorus to have the loud one. So then, and then we can essentially do this one more time. Copy these, and again, I'm doing them one bar before they drop. So we're doing it right here. And then we're having the more subtle ones on the verses, and it gets a little bit more energized on the hooks. So this is what I mean in terms of structuring out the beat. So I already know, let's calculate how long this beat is gonna be. This beat is gonna be 3 minutes, so we might have to adjust that. It's already at 410, and then when we slow it down, it's probably gonna go down to like 430, 440. Which is actually pretty good. You could rank beats well oftentimes, and the last breath beat that I had made that did as well as it did, I think it was like 4 minutes and 20 seconds long. So we may be able to take out a little bit. Maybe we could shorten the second verse even further. But I do like to have that long build up before the drums hit about a minute in, and then before the chorus hits about 1:30. So because we want people to go through. So I would definitely, if I had to remove a part, I'd probably shorten the verse again and cut it down by doing this. But let's see this cymbal roll as well. So the cymbal roll. And then that riff, it's probably not good to transition with all those notes. I would cut that like right about here. But again, we have a little bit of a volume clip. I don't know if you're able to hear that, but so what we can do is drop this. There we go. And there's a little pop, so at the end, I'll try to save the boring editing stuff for the off the video, but just so you know, I'm gonna end up getting rid of the little pops, the little pop right there. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of crop that down a bit and get rid of that on both of them as well. So we can pull that over, pull that down to make the transitions perfectly smooth. Now with the drums, well, let's stop this one instrument. Let's see. I'm gonna use this. All right. Boom. So what do we have left? We have a few other instruments. So why don't we start playing with some drums? So with the drums, let's go into one of my go-tos is this Cymatics Magic Kit. Cymatics hooked me up with a really dope kit. I really like the stuff that they do as well. Go down an octave. And again, I already know that we're probably gonna drop the drums, or we have that option, so I'm keeping that in mind as well in terms of the selection of the drums. Could literally be something simple like that. And then for this one, we're gonna get perfect timing because it's gonna be really on beat. That's the style of beat this is. The guitar is like a little bit late right there, so I'm gonna make a few little adjustments on it so the guitar sounds, I don't like having just that little bit of offness. Dun, dun. So you can see it's a little bit late right there. So what we can do, again, it's gonna be more difficult to edit this now that it's already in, or that it was already amplified before the recording. But these two notes, it's a little rushed and then it kind of slows down. So these notes are a little bit rushed. So let's see what we can do to come in here right about there. Those notes are slightly rushed. This note is a little bit late. So what we can do is we can ultimately pull these ones that are a little bit rushed to the right and then pull this one that's a little bit late to the left and then get rid of the pops through editing. And then from there, it should work perfectly with the drums. Come on. Yo, bro, I hate little errors like that. All right. Ooh, it sounds horrible. It's just the pops that sound horrible. You can really see them coming through. Yeah, right there, particularly. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, we have these waves that are ultimately colliding. We don't want them to collide. They're a little bit off. Oh, come on, catch up. Let's see right about there. Yeah, that sounds good except for this little pop now. There's a little bit of it's not like 100% perfect, but again, I'd rather it be on beat and have like a little bit of a weird sound to it that sounds just a little bit extra than to have something that's off time. Even if the off timing is simple, it's noticeable to a few percentage of people, and when a few percentage of people check off, then you're losing out. There we go. Also, if we were to use the EQ as we did on the others, it would be less noticeable. So what we'll do is we'll paste this over to the second verse. Actually, I'm gonna delete it first because I don't want any errors. So we'll delete it, paste it on top. And what we'll do for the second verse, we're gonna shorten the verse because I already see that, oh, let's use this for the build up too. So let's bring this over here. That was the intention. We're gonna shorten the second verse, allowing the song to not be super long. I don't want it to be too long. Boom. So now the song's gonna be around 4 minutes, which is cool. So that's the feedback that I want to build up to the chorus with, because it's almost like you're at a show and you feel like the distortion guitar is coming in, because we're going from that part where there's pretty clean guitar and then we're going to the part where there's real more distortion. So what we want to do though is it's very important that we are able to get the feedback at the proper pitch so it sounds natural. That already sounds pretty good, to be honest. So let's make sure it ends at the proper time. So we're gonna have it end right here, and we'll have a crash cymbal. So it'll cover up any little transition things that need to be covered up. So let's hear it alone. You hear that pop? It's a big pop. So what we can do, we'll bring this just a little bit over and we will lower it. There we go. There's another pop that could be coming from any of the instruments. Boom, probably coming from all of them. So again, I'm gonna stop doing a lot of these little sound edits because I wanna show you guys how to really put together the full beat, and I only have like, what, 30 more minutes. So these beats, they do take, I don't know, a few hours, especially if you're gonna record all the samples originally, but you see we're already actually pretty close to being done. All we have to do is throw in some hi-hats, some 808s. We have, the transitions are already in, and then we got a little bit of mixing. So let's see what we got here. So this note, the guitar is slightly late at that point, so if we move this note just a little bit to the right, just a little bit, it'll make everything feel a little bit more natural. There we go. And then this one, the bump bump, those doubles, I was envisioning that being quieter to louder, so bump 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 bump. So we can do something like that. No Spotify. So let's hear that. So we can delete that, or we can literally delete all the notes. I like to leave a big transition in between the chorus or right before the chorus, so then that way we can really feel that thing hit. That feedback, it sounds good, but it might sound better at a different pitch. So let's see. One thing I like to do for the transitions into the chorus, don't build it all the way up to the end. So we're going pop, we'll end that one right there. Honestly, I don't like that feedback for this. Let's see how this drum beat works over the hook, potentially. kind of feels like it could use an extra kick in there, like boom, pop, boom. So for example, you know, I don't like to overdo it though. I like to keep the beats as simple as possible. So what I want to do here is actually boost this up. Dun, dun. So we'll pull this down. Yeah, I like that. So now let's throw on, oh man, I forgot to set the timer. I hope I don't miss that resetting the video. So let's get into let's get into some hi-hats. So what we'll do, back to the cymatics. It's good, but it's not great for this beat. Let's see. Trap kit. I kind of want a triplet in here. I really like those triplets when it comes to Lil Peep type beats. So boom, boom, boom. Right here. Alright, so let's see. One thing I like to do with the hi-hats in particular, I do them a little bit different than most people do them. You're probably like, what the fuck is this dude doing? So what we'll do is let's pull them onto 8th note. So that's why I want the kick there, because it does feel a little bit empty. I like that, the double right there. There we go. All right, so now for the faster hi-hat, I like that because it's for the second half of the verse. And then the triplet goes hi-hat. I like that. So we can actually pause that hi-hat before. I like to use the snare to trigger a pause in the hi-hat. So let's delete that. So now for the more upbeat part, let's get these actually on beat. 16th notes? Yeah. Now we can add some hi-hat burst, if you will. So let's see what can we do to make this a little bit better? We can keep it simple at the start. But like, for example, we move that hi-hat. can do a little double right there potentially. So it's, yeah. What if we do like a quick triplet right here? So these are offbeat anyway, but let's pull them back on, and then what we can do is do like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we can pull this a little bit over, and then this third one will be like right about here. And then again, we can pull them as 8th note triplets. Ta 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 ta. So one thing I like to do is to, so we come in here, pull this one in a little bit, right about there. No, let's see, try it on this one. Dun, dun. So you'll see one of the benefits of the cymatics kit is having multiple different hi-hats to sound good. So now I have to basically create a new track. And then let's do, shoot, I'm already getting pretty close to finishing this beat. So what we'll do, for that note in particular, we will use the other kit to use that note. Delete everything else. Oh, come on now. Come on now. All right, so. Turn it down a little bit. Maybe we can try a little bit more. Let's see. I don't like it right there. You know what? It actually sounds good right about here. So I just like doing little things to make the hi-hats interesting. I don't do too much of the pitching up and down. I don't find it to be that necessary or even that pleasant sounding. So for the second half, we'll just copy it. Right about there. Copy this over. So we'll get rid of all that. Boom. Next thing that I want to do is I want to separate the snare from the kick, so then we can start getting into some 808s. And one thing that I might actually do while, well, I don't know if I want to drop the speed of this just yet, but I do want to showcase the effect that really reveals how to make that final step to make it darker, deeper, and to sound more like Lil Peep. So what we'll do, let's do another track. Again, I'm separating the snare from the kick. So I'm gonna copy the track with the snare currently on it, and then what we'll do is we will add the same kit. I could just copy and paste it, but for some reason, this might be quicker right now. Bada boom. What is the holdup? All right. Boom. I'll call this one kick. Snare. Sonray. It'll be the Sonray. All right. It's a nice Sonray right there. Keep the kick right here. So then. Something about that, every time I hear that hi-hat back, it sounds like there's just one note missing. So, what happened at the end of that? Let's see, we'll copy that again. And we can also use that buildup that we used earlier before the verse. We can use that one again potentially. So we'll take the 8-bar riser. Let's just give it a go, see how it sounds. So we'll just take the bottom one that is already edited properly. Pretty good. Let's get into some 808s. We'll start making this thing sound dope. All right, so here we go. We're gonna take the kick, copying it for the 808s, and we're just gonna follow the notes of the melody, or the notes of the rhythm, if you will. So let's go into, lower this just a little bit. Don't want to destroy my ears yet today. And we'll start off with the D. And then we work up to the next note. We can do a high note for that one too. So we're gonna throw another 808, And the difference between this 808 is it's going to be, I'm going for potentially much longer and then potentially gliding through some notes. So there's a unique way that I've done that in the past. I forget if I did that on the Lil Peep type beat that blew up, but definitely has a lot of potential. So let's see, we're gonna pull this in. And again, the notes are completely different too, so that's another thing that we have to keep in mind here, is that we're now starting off on the on a higher note. So we're starting off on the last note, which was an A sharp. So now the first note of this, if I'm not mistaken, should be an A sharp. So let's see. Oh, come on. 808. So these are the settings as well if you want to set up your 808 like this. So again, we're starting off at the A sharp. Na. So this is interesting because we have the guitar changing notes at a separate time from when the 808 is hitting. So technically right here, we should drop the volume of the 808 so it does not collide with the guitar. And it'll be a subtle little thing that happens. Most people would miss this. And again, why most people have sloppy mixes is because they don't understand the root notes of the samples that you're using. So hopefully, if you are or do use my samples, that you do locate the root note and are able to have that 808 matching the root note, at least for most of the time, unless you're doing it strategically otherwise. So you see now it's the 808 pauses for a second while the guitar hits that separate note, allowing that lack of collision or for the notes to really work together. What note did I hit right there? I remember that was the ending of the chorus. I had to hit a weird note. What note did I hit right there? It was yeah, that is A, right? Yeah. We can hit the higher A or we can hit the lower A. I really like going down to that low A. I usually use that A right there is I don't usually go lower than that. So we got this thing pretty well built out. So if anything, we can copy these drums, bring them over. I mean, ultimately we can copy now we do want to sidechain. I do believe in sidechaining, and it really allows you to get that mix to the volume that competes. So what we'll do, let's drop the kick 10 decibels And then what we'll do from there is we will send it out. I don't know why I always send it to bus 50. I think it was a habit that I developed a long time ago. I just wanted to do something a little bit different. And for that bus to always be available, so then again, we're going to the 808 and we shall pull that compressor on. And bus 50, I always drop the attack, and then we want the threshold to hit where it's just below -5. So let's give it a listen. And then we also don't want this to be at 0, so this is pretty good. If anything, from here we could just lower the volume a little bit. So what I'm thinking with this is we can possibly do the Moog bass thing again right here and just build it up. I would do it on the second part. The notes are different though. Different order at least. Duh. We can just copy that over. Yeah. So now we can build that up. So we can actually take the transitions from the other ones. I mean, we don't have to completely customize every single one. And we will take the build up transition along with the Theramax and the Cara vocals, and we will do it 1 bar before. So we will build that up right about here. So again, this is our bridge into the final chorus. And look, there's some little things to still finish up on this beat, but the beat is almost there. So a couple things that I like to do here. Let me give you the goods real quick. So for the chorus, I like to use a crash from a real drum set. So I go to the heavy kit. At least it was recorded from a real drum kit. Boom, I know exactly where it is. And boom. That's what we want. We want it to sound epic. I don't want it right on the bar, so I'm gonna do it like 50%. I kind of like it a little late. You can do that at the beginning of every chorus. You can also add it if you like to the middle of the chorus as well. I usually, when adding it to the middle of the chorus, I like to lower the volume. So, because I like that first hit to be the climax of the chorus. The second one's still good though. So now we have that. Then I like to add background snares. So a lot of people, they just add reverb to snares, but one thing that I do a little bit differently is I like to go into my drum kit, and I have a full kit of different snares that I like to use as back snares. But I don't use back snares in the same way that most people use them to do like an offbeat thing or whatever. Oh yeah, and then we also have the rim. So I'm gonna show you the rim, then we'll drop the pitch, and we'll see what we can do possibly to finalize this. Because the final touches are the most important part. Because we're already at like a 7 out of 10. We gotta turn this beat to like a 9 out of 10. We're not quite there yet. So I like to use this one, I like to use this one, I like to use that one, I like to use this one, sometimes that one or this one. They're all pretty damn epic. Yeah, I don't know why everything's late. I think I have too many tracks going on or something. All right, let's see. Let's go 100%. You can paste that over. So you'll notice in the chorus, we aren't able to hear the volume as much. So what I'll do is I'll turn the volume up of the entire thing, and then I'll just copy the parts that are not the chorus, and I will lower those down separately, because my volume is reaching a peak right now. Can't pull that up that much further. There we go. All right, you guys ready for the goods here? Here, look, let me just show you. So I'm gonna save it. So let's do save. I just save it based on the date. So we'll go Lil Peep, December 4th. Boom. Now here, look, this is the effect that I used to make a large difference in every sound. So let's see, we're gonna go to customize control bar, and we will go to custom, we will add varispeed on, and then we'll do speed and pitch. And we're gonna drop the speed and pitch, we're at 140. Let's do, I like to do by like what, 17% approximately, or 24. So look, what I would do with that, I would probably drop it to 24, and then what I would probably do is take that tempo up a little bit. So look, here, let me take off the varispeed, bring it back to what it was, and then what we'll do is we'll take every transition, every audio file, let's bring them to the top. I like to separate my audio files from my, I don't even know what the other ones are called, instrument, software, nonsense files. Let's go into, oh yeah, we're gonna click right here, we're gonna put polyphonic. So this is going to allow us to adjust the tempo. We can speed it up before we slow it down, because it does feel, I like the drop in pitch. I actually think we could drop it a little bit further, but it goes a little bit too slow. So what I wanna do is potentially bring this up to like 160, and then we can drop the varispeed, speed and pitch by 24. Let's see how that goes. So now you can kind of see the difference that it makes, and you could play around with the different tempos and the different pitches and all that stuff. Where was this? Okay, here we go. But for me, honestly, it's a little bit too much right now. I don't know. I'm trying to find the right pitch. So maybe down. That's pretty good. So it just depends your own taste. Let's go back to normal. Yeah, so it's a little... There's one other thing that I do like to have included in this, and it's a rim shot. It's hard to make a really, really good beat without a rim shot. I mean, you don't always need them, but for this kind of beat, especially as we slow it down, the rim shots are really, really important. So let's see what we got here. So I would remove those two, bring these over, and then another thing we can play around with is lowering the pitch, but separately, so not everything together. Because I do like the way the rims sound at a lower pitch, oftentimes. So if we bring this down a little bit, and again, I like to put it to drums for drums. We can drop this down 2 or 4 pitches, it usually sounds pretty good. Yeah. So now we have the whole beat coming together. But again, in the chorus, the rims don't come through quite as much. So what we'll do is we will raise the volume of the rims in the hook area. So we can just pull all these up about, I don't know, 10 dB or 10, not 10 dB, that'd be crazy. What am I talking about? There we go. A couple of things that I would consider of this beat is taking the drums and the hook and potentially just making them more of a rock style drums. And you could simply do that by just removing the snare or even just the hi-hat and having some cymbals in there. But let's see, how does it feel? I almost want there to be like 4 right there. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that makes a big difference. All right, so it's been about 2 hours and the beat is basically done. The last things that I'm going to do to finalize this beat is really just listen through it, determine the exact tempo and how much I want to drop the pitch, make sure that it's mixed and mastered a little bit cleaner, just going to boost up the volume a bit. In terms of the mastering, I really don't do anything. All I do is use a limiter to really boost up the volume to get it to where it sounds loud, but it's not, creating distortion and all that. So with everything that we went over here, I hope that you feel confident to go and make some Lil Peep type beats. Go make some emo rap type beats. And there are so many different artists that are similar and would use this style of beat because it's so different than what so many people are creating nowadays with that alternative rock type beat influence. So if you found this video valuable, make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what kind of beat or what kind of tutorial or instructional you want me to do next. Make sure you pick up the guitar loops below. These same ones, I'm going to have them available for you to make a beat along with different loop kits below. So check out my beat store or loop kit store at ryaneprod.com. Shoot me a like and subscribe and share this with somebody that you would find this valuable. So thank you and have a good day.